Let us be still. Be still and know that I am God. Not the talk about God, not our preferences concerning God, but the knowing, silent, interior, immediate. For a moment, close the ledger of today's judgments, put down the banners, pro and con, and together enter a shared quiet. Our work in this hour is simple and it is sacred, the development of spiritual consciousness. The purpose of our being here is not to become more clever in argument or more precise in opinion. It is to awaken and cultivate that inner faculty by which we see that which is invisible, hear that which is inaudible, and know that which cannot be known by the senses. We are not here to add another side to the world's debate. Opinion divides, one presence heals. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. How shall we judge righteous judgment except by the capacity to see through the appearance to the presence, that is, one, indivisible, without opposite? When the eyes of flesh report conflict, lack, sickness, or sin, the eye of spirit is trained to behold the infinite invisible where the senses announce only fragments. This seeing is not fantasy. It is the very labor of our class, patient, deliberate, and daily. I stand before you in a humility that is freedom. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Master said it, and it stands as law. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. That same indwelling one is the doer in you. I do not bring you my opinions as a remedy. I could not if I tried. I bring you only the reminder that within you now is the presence, the life, the mind that is the only worker, the only power. To affirm two powers and then take sides is to resign peace and enlist for weariness. To realize one presence is to retire from the battlefield of the mind and let God be God. Our intention in this series is exact. We will not take sides. We will learn to see through appearances to the one. We will refuse the temptation to help error by defending its opposite and instead stand in the light that dissolves both pole and counterpole. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light, a single eye, not a split gaze, not an eye half on God and half on headlines. Oh no. A single eye that beholds one presence in the very place duality shouts for our allegiance. We begin, as always, with our basic work. If I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. Therefore we let the noise go away from us now, that the Comforter may come and teach, lead, and govern. Before you open the next email, before you step into the meeting, before you speak to friend or foe, take a minute, if not a minute, take 10 seconds and inwardly acknowledge, Father, thou art the life, the law, the love of this moment. I take no thought. Thy spirit orders my seeing. Then wait. Wait until a soft assurance rises, not from argument, not from fear, but from presence. This morning, in a little house at the edge of town, a man I shall not name sat with two headlines glaring at him, and his heart rushed to choose this outrage or that one. Instead, he pushed back from the table and whispered, "Be still." He breathed, and in that pause, another voice, not of sides but of silence, said, "Fear not, for I am with thee." Did the world change in that instant? Perhaps not, but the seer changed. And in that change, seeing, he became available to be used, his words gentled, his hands steadied, his next act wise. That is our path. We exchange opinion for presence. We train the inner eye until, in the face of contradiction, it remains single. And as we do, the Father within doeth the work, speaking when speech is grace, silencing us when silence is mercy, sending us where help is needed without adding 1 ounce to the world's quarrel. Let us begin now in stillness to let the Comforter have his government of this hour. Let us look frankly at the machinery that grinds away our peace. The world, good people, earnest movements, bright platforms comes to your door and mine with a clipboard in hand. Choose a team, sign a petition, write a post, wear a color, or we will suspect you of apathy. It is relentless, this demand for allegiance to a pole or a program. But hear me with the ear of spirit. The instant we choose a side because we have first accepted two powers, our peace drains away, and with it our capacity to behold God. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Who divides the house? Not God. We divide it the moment we agree there are two forces contending for a throne, and that our small noise must boast to the one called good against the one called evil. Oh no, the kingdom of God has no rival. Watch how invisibly it begins. A headline or a conversation places a hand at your back and shoves. Say something. Take a stand. Prove your compassion by your combat. And then, almost without noticing, the jaw hardens, the breath shortens, the thumb scrolls and scrolls, and the heart, made to be a sanctuary, becomes a courtroom. You can tell exactly when the transfer has taken place. Agitation is the receipt. Peace is forfeited the instant we believe in two powers and enlist to defend one. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. We cannot serve the one and the split at the same time. To attempt it is to live on the rack. There is a subtler law at work, one the Master hinted at when he said, resist not evil. Why? Because resistance is attention, and attention is the unseen substance by which images gel and persist. Siding against strengthens the very image you oppose, declaring, this is power. Even if you add, and I am against it, is a tithe paid into its treasury. How do conflicts multiply? How does outrage find new hosts each morning? By our consent to duality as reality, by our agreement signed in fear to a universe of sparring forces needing our argument to tip the balance. Be not surprised when your late night rebuttal gives birth to 3 more in the morning. Reactivity is invisible fuel, and the machine runs on it. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. What is the good that overcomes? Not a superior argument, not the sharper sword. The good is the presence realized, the one recognized in the place where the senses swear there are two. Our work is not to win an argument in the human arena, even for a righteous cause. Our work is to withdraw belief in two powers, to cease feeding an image by our fear and disdain. This is not indifference. This is obedience to reality. It is a radical non-cooperation with unreality that frees us to act not under compulsion, not under threat, but under grace. Let us be honest with ourselves. When the jaw is tight, when the breath is shallow, when the feed consumes the hours, when we cannot put the device down because one more take might secure the world, that is our altar call, not to post, but to pause. Those are the body's liturgies telling us we have left the sanctuary of the one and stepped into the vestibule of the divided. The body testifies when the soul has wandered. In that moment, it is not courage to press on, it is wisdom to turn within. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives a peace purchased with victories and vigil. The Christ gives a peace that is presence itself, intact before a single word is uttered. Do you see the battlefield differently now? No hill to seize, no opponent to crush, only an imagination to reclaim. The carnal mind paints two and demands your oath. The Christ mind beholds one and requires only your consent to what already is. From that consent, action will come in its season. But before action, vision. Before speaking, seeing. Before choosing, surrendering the belief that there are two to choose between. Then, and only then, The Father within can do the works without adding 1 ounce to the world's quarrel. Now let us open the curtain on the core of our work. One presence. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, not 2 lords sharing a throne, not a good God fending off a rival, but one. I and my Father are one. That is not a slogan for our bumper. It is a revelation for our being. All that the Father hath is mine, not promised in a future heaven, not earned by correct opinions, but mine because the one is my life, my law, my substance, my sight. When this is realized, not heard only, not agreed to in church and forgotten at the headline, but realized, something fundamental changes. The drive to take sides evaporates, and with it the strain of guarding a position. A single eye begins to form in us, and if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Consider again the wave in the ocean. The wave has no independent mind, no separate supply, no private power to gather itself into dignity. Its form is the ocean's self-expression, its energy the ocean's life. The wave does not take a side against the undertow. It does not rally a coalition to resist the tide. Oh no, it abides as the ocean in action, so with us. We are not fragments trying to borrow a bit of God for our preferred causes. We are the very life of God, individualized, the infinite one showing forth as you and as me. In him we live and move and have our being. When that identity dawns, the habit of enlisting in a battle between powers cannot survive. What would the ocean fight? What would the light argue with? Do not mistake this for apathy. Neutrality in the spirit is not lukewarmness. It is vision. It is standing so still in one presence that the appearance of 2 dissolves before it can enlist your fear. Light does not choose a side against darkness. It shines, and darkness is found to be no thing. In exactly this way, spiritual neutrality is the shining of realized oneness. It neither sharpens a sword nor dulls a conscience. It illumines. From that illumination, words may come or silence may reign, steps may be taken or a pause may be commanded, but all under the government of the one. Here is an essential discipline. Impersonalize the appearance. Remove the names, the uniforms, the hashtags, and behold an impersonal suggestion, only that of division, seeking your consent. The carnal mind presents its case with faces to win your pity or your fury. Strip off the labels and say within yourself, this is not person, place, thing, or party. This is a suggestion of 2 powers, and I do not consent. Then acknowledge, Father, thou art here. One presence, one power, one life is the fact. Wait long enough to feel even the faintest assurance of that fact, and only then move. This is not passivity, it is authority. Notice the law at work, not siding with error, but recognizing presence that nullifies it without combat, not feeding the picture, but withdrawing belief, not pushing down the storm, but standing in the calm that stills it. Resist not evil, because resistance grants substance. Realization withdraws it. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good, and the good is God realized, not argument perfected. As this one fills consciousness, the world's demand to choose thins to a whisper and then to silence. You find yourself strangely free, free to bless without endorsing error, free to correct without condemning, free to act without adding 1 ounce to the world's quarrel. And you will hear often without words, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. In that hearing, your steps become ordered, not by panic, not by pressure, but by presence. Then neutrality, far from shrinking the heart, becomes its true capacity, the capacity to see through. And in the seeing through, peace is not only preserved, it becomes the very atmosphere in which the next right thing is revealed and fulfilled. Beloved, we must speak plainly now, for love requires honesty. The day is passing when you can count on sending a telegram to a practitioner or making a midnight call to borrow another's realization while you keep your own lamp untrimmed. God blessed those helps. They were stepping stones on the river. But it is not legitimate to keep camping on a stepping stone once you have crossed the stream. As long as you depend on my spiritual qualities or your teachers or a circle's atmosphere, you will not develop them within yourself. A constant reliance on anyone's capacity other than your own is a denial of the Christ in you. Hear the Master. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. If the outward prop remain your Savior, the inward Comforter will not rise to his throne. Let us bring this forward into the hour we are living. Stop scrolling for saviors. Stop hiring pundits, platforms, and personalities to anesthetize your fear. The feed that quiets you for a minute mortgages your peace for the night. Why? Because the quiet you rented was not presence realized. It was stimulus displaced by counter-stimulus, and the invoice arrives with interest and agitation. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives a pacifier. Christ gives presence. The algorithm can push down a symptom. Only the Comforter can reveal the absence of the cause. What then is asked of us? Accept responsibility for your peace. Not in bravado, oh no. I can of mine own self do nothing, but in holy courage, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The one who was in the Master is in you, not diluted, not deferred. The kingdom of God is within you. Therefore our reliance must make the same turn from out there to in here, from the noise of many counselors to the government of one presence. Do not say, when I have a stronger practice, I will begin. Practice is how strength is born. They can begin the healing work tonight, so said our forebears on day 3 of their classes. And I say the same to you now. You can begin this very night. Here is our simple rule for the shift. On retiring this evening, put the device away, and before a word to any form say within, Father, thou art my peace. I take no thought. Thy spirit orders my seeing. Wait 30 seconds, a minute, until the faintest assurance arises. In the morning, before the world lays its claim, turn again. I and my Father are one, not will be, are. Acknowledge this truth not as poetry, but as fact. Do it at the sink, at the door, at the first red light. Do it again when you feel the old hand at your back shoving you into sides. With each acknowledgement, you are not manufacturing peace. You are consenting to it. Capacity unfolds in the doing, not in the waiting. Do not imagine this leaves you passive. It renders you reliable. When the neighbor knocks, when a child wakes in fear, when a colleague trembles, never refuse a call. But hear what I am saying. Do not first reach for the list of holy names to ring as if God were across town. Turn instantly to the Comforter within and let the Father do the works through you. You need not announce it. You need not explain. Stand quietly inside. Father, thou art here. Let the presence be the atmosphere, and watch as words you could not have crafted or a silence you would not have dared arrives to bless. Some of you have asked, what shall I do when I feel alone, bereft of my props? Stand still. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Lo, I am with you always. The sense of aloneness is the last tremor of the habit of outsourcing as it dies. Let it pass through without tribute. Remember the ocean and the wave. The wave does not subscribe to the ocean's power. It is the ocean in expression. All that the Father is the life of you. All that the Father hath is mine, not borrowed, not leased. yours, because you are his own self-expression. Tonight, begin. Not tomorrow's resolve, tonight's obedience. Close your eyes and return your attention home. Refuse the auction block where peace is bartered for opinions. Rent no more. Own what is given. The indwelling authority, the comforter, the one presence acting as your very consciousness. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. As you consent to that holy order, you will find the world still turning, its needs still pressing, but you, anchored, you will speak when speech is grace, be silent when silence is mercy, and act without adding 1 ounce to the world's quarrel. Presence in you is sufficient to meet this hour. Fear not, little flock, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Now we take vision into regimen, for practice makes perception. The eye of spirit is not born full grown. It is trained by deliberate acknowledgments until seeing through becomes as natural as breathing. On waking, before the foot touches the floor, before the mind lifts yesterday's banners, let the first awareness be holy. Father, thou art here. One presence, one power, one life. I and my Father are one, not an aspiration, but a fact to which you consent. Rest there half a minute if you can, until a soft assurance settles the faintest warmth that says, I am not two, I am one. That first acknowledgement puts the keel in the water and steadies the whole day. Then we add the pre-engagement pause. Before you open the news, before the meeting link is clicked, before the message is sent or the post composed, turn within for 60 seconds and establish oneness. Take no thought. Father, thou art the mind of this conversation, the law of this room, the life of this page. Do not push words into that silence. Wait until an ease rises. Sometimes it is a word, sometimes it is a calm, sometimes only a breath. When it comes, proceed. When it does not, be willing to delay a moment more. This is not procrastination. It is governance. It is the refusal to enter the world's noise unsent. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, not by the headline's drum. Throughout the day, practice the gentle art of ongoing acknowledgment, under your breath if you like, or only within. Name the attributes of Source as the fact of your being. Peace governs me. Clarity illumines me. Sufficiency is the law of this hour. Love is the atmosphere here. Justice is the balance of God, not the leverage of men. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. These are not mantras to hypnotize the mind. They are acknowledgments that unhypnotize it. Each one withdraws a measure of belief from appearances and returns it to reality, and with each return, the eye grows single. When the headlines appear, and they will do not grant them person, place, or party, look at them impersonally and say within, I see through this picture to the one presence governing all. Judge not according to the appearance, judge righteous judgment. The faces and flags will plead for your fear or your fury. Strip them off in your contemplation and behold a suggestion only, two-powersness, seeking your consent. Refuse the oath. Resist not evil, for resistance is attention. Attention is substance, and what you feed will linger. Withdraw belief, but do not withdraw blessing. Hold to one. As you do, the impulse to hurry into combat thins, and a wise, clean act will often be given you, one that heals without enlisting in a quarrel. Let thanksgiving become the rhythm that converts managing into receiving with every morsel. Father, I thank thee. This is thy life appearing as bread. With every message, I thank thee. Thou art the word behind these words. With every meeting, I thank thee. Thou art the presence governing the circle. In everything give thanks. Thanksgiving is not courtesy, it is alignment. It turns the mind from self-supply to grace supply, from strain to sufficiency. Give us this day our daily bread ceases to be a plea for loaves and becomes recognition that presence is the bread always at hand. Now to the sober part, 6 months. Give me 6 months of devotion to this simple regiment: morning acknowledgment, pre-engagement, pause, ongoing attributes, impersonal viewing, thanksgiving as breath, and you will come to that holy threshold I call transition. Up to then, you will feel you are doing the work, remembering, turning, speaking truth to yourself. But at transition, truth begins to utter itself. Without summoning, the word arises. Without effort, the I is single. Before the provocation, peace stands present. We begin to discover what the Master meant. It is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. From there we live more and more by grace, not by management. We find ourselves carried, corrected, and commissioned without inner racket. Begin tonight. Begin in the morning. Do not wait for a quieter hour. This is the hour. Practice makes perception. The one you acknowledge becomes the one you see, and the one you see becomes the atmosphere in which the Father within doeth the works. And as your eye grows single, your whole body, your affairs, your speech, your silence shall be full of light. Now we arrive at the Master's rule, brought right into the modern din. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Take no thought is not negligence, it is divine order. It does not abdicate responsibility. It relocates responsibility to the only place it can be rightly held, the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. You are not conscripted to run the universe by opinion. Oh no. Your part is to abide. God's part is to govern. By this holy arrangement, words are given, silences are given, steps are given by grace, not by strain. The news cycle is a market. Its currency is your attention. The outrage economy pays dividends in adrenaline and deficits in peace. Do not spend your consciousness as currency in markets of fear. Do not tithe to algorithms with reactivity. Resist not evil, because resistance is attention and attention is substance. When the feed presses urgently, react now, prove you care. The commandment remains unchanged. Take no thought. Right then, turn within and surrender the management of the moment. Father, place in me the word, the silence, or the deed for this moment and no more, not tomorrow's battle, not the whole world's sorrow, this moment's obedience. Consider how the Master instructed his disciples under pressure. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. The same law governs you amidst headlines. What is needed will be placed in you when you are needed if you leave room by refusing anxious pre-speech. Seek the kingdom first. Words and ways are added. Seek words first. Kingdoms are lost. How do you know grace has taken the helm? There are markers, simple and sure. The breath lengthens of itself. The jaw softens. A gentler tone appears without rehearsal. And a timely restraint, a holy hesitation, quietly cancels the post you nearly sent. Peace begins to precede provocation. You discover your sentence shortens and clarifies, or your silence grows weightier than 1,000 explanations. These are not your achievements. They are evidences that government has shifted. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, and in that keeping, the right thing does itself through you. Do not say, if I withdraw my thinking, nothing will be done. Oh no. In withdrawing anxious management, You make way for the only doing that heals. Watch how provision unfolds when you refuse to push. A call arrives you did not plan. A paragraph writes itself without hardness. The exact resource appears at the hour of need. Not earlier to flatter your fear, not later to shame your faith. Elijah was fed by ravens, not by forecasts. Manna fell sufficient for the day, not hoarded for tomorrow's dread. Grace is punctual. It meets the need at the point of need. Let us bring this to the desk where the screen glows. A woman reads a report and the fire leaps in her fingers to publish her fear. She stops. Father, thou art here. Place in me the word, the silence, or the deed for this moment and no more. In the pause, a different impulse arrives. Send bread, not a broadside. She sends support quietly. She writes 3 lines to comfort a trembling friend, and she says nothing else. Notice the fruit. Relief without residue, compassion without combat, sufficiency without show. This is living by grace inside the storm. From this hour, refuse the yoke of mental management. Seek first. Take no thought. Let the Spirit of your Father speak in you or keep you still when you feel that lengthening of breath, that softened tone, that timely restraint. Say within, thank you, government is upon thy shoulder. And then go your way, ordered from within, adding not 1 ounce to the world's quarrel, yet being sent with precisely the word, the silence, or the deed that heals. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Live there, and you will find your steps, your speech, your very pauses woven by grace into the quiet answer the hour could not give itself. Now to the holy practicality of love, ministering without taking sides. From this moment on, never refuse a call. When a hand reaches for you, that is your assignment. But hear me, it is not your argument to win, nor your cleverness to display. I can of mine own self do nothing, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Therefore the method is unchanged, though the scene is new. Turn within, acknowledge the presence. Father, thou art here. Reveal thyself as peace in this room, as wisdom in these minds, as gentleness in these tongues. Wait for the faintest assurance before you move, and then move only by that inner clearance. First, impersonalize the persons. Strip the uniforms from your thought. Remove the names and the grievances. Behold not pro and con, not winner and loser, but the same life wearing differing garments. Have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? See that before you see anything else. Then you can look upon your brother and your sister without the furnace that partisanship kindles. When you no longer consent to 2 powers, the compulsion to choose a side withers, and the capacity to bless appears. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Peacemakers are not referees in the sport of opinions. They are witnesses to one presence, and that very witnessing becomes the peace. What then is action that does not enlist in a quarrel? It is presence first, your stillness as a chalice that another may drink from. It is listening without preparing a rebuttal, without arranging evidence. It is prayer not to twist God toward your preference, oh no, but to consent to God as the only atmosphere here. And it is practical aid that does not attack another child of God. Bread baked, a ride given, a bill quietly paid, a hand steadied axe that mend without indicting. A soft answer turneth away wrath, and sometimes the soft answer is a cup of tea brought into a noisy kitchen with the word, peace be to this house. Here is a simple sketch from life. 2 siblings stand in a doorway, voices sharpened over an inheritance, old grievances wearing new suits. You are called. Do not hurry into their storm with your opinion, That adds wind to their sea. Stand just within the threshold and turn inward. Father, thou art here. I take no thought. Thy spirit orders my seeing and my speaking. Wait. The breath lengthens, the jaw unfastens, and with that soft assurance, you step closer and say very little, perhaps only, "Let us sit for a minute," they protest. "We must settle this now." But something in the tone introduces a pause. You do not adjudicate. You establish atmosphere. You ask each to name one mercy received from their parent. While they speak, old heat dissipates. The presence goes to work. Then, perhaps, a single phrase rises unbidden. You are not adversaries. You are heirs of love before ledger. Not a speech, not a cleverness, just the word given in that same hour. If a practical step is needed, it will be plain. Tomorrow we will bring someone who draws up clear papers. Tonight we will not accuse. You have ministered without taking a side. The Father within did the works. But there will be hours when no word is given. Honor the boundary of grace. If there is no inner clearance to speak, be still. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Do not imagine you have failed because silence is your guidance. Silence can be the most potent ministry. It withholds fuel from the fire. It refuses to dignify unreality with debate. It makes a place for truth to utter itself. Be still and know that I am God. Often in that hush, a softening will begin, and then perhaps a right gesture appears, a hand upon the shoulder, a window opened, the simple sentence, "We will not harm each other here." And if even that is not given, hold the room inside your own realized oneness and let the presence accomplish what your words could only delay. When next the phone rings, when a message arrives at midnight, never refuse a call, but do not enter it as a combatant. Stand as presence. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. See through faces to the one life. Offer presence, listening, prayer, and the simple mercies that heal without choosing an enemy. Thus we help most not by taking a side, but by letting the Father within do the works, and you will find that peace, once thought fragile, becomes the very authority by which reconciliation is born. Now we come to the hour of correction, because vision must pass its examinations. Some of you have felt the inward objection. If I refuse to take a side, do I not become indifferent? Oh no. Neutrality in spirit is not apathy. It is the refusal to grant reality to dual power. I am the Lord, and there is none else. When we rest there, we do not become spectators to suffering. We become instruments of grace that moves at the right time, in the right way, without animosity, without fear, and without the exhaustion that comes from defending one power against another. How shall we know the difference between neutrality and numbness? There are sure signs. Reactivity demands instant expression. It shouts, "Now," or you are complicit. Presence waits and then moves with quiet authority. Reactivity is hot in the face, tight in the jaw, hurried in the fingers. Presence lengthens the breath, softens the tone, and clarifies the sentence or closes the mouth. Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. If wrath is working you, you may be certain righteousness is not being worked through you. When peace precedes provocation, action is often given clean, sufficient, and strangely unlabored. Let us form a simple protocol for the moments that ignite us. When inflamed, pause. Do not bargain with the pause. Honor it, breathe once, twice. Acknowledge, Father, thou art here. One presence, one power, one life. I take no thought. Wait for the faintest assurance. It may be only the loosening of the jaw, the lengthening of a breath, a small inner yes. Only then decide to speak or to be silent or to take a step. This is not passive withdrawal, but divinely led advance. Not the evasion of duty, but obedience to the only authority that heals. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. If in that hour nothing is given, do not manufacture it. Silence kept in God is not neglect, it is government. You will meet compulsion dressed as righteousness. It will say, if you loved, you would sign, you would shout, you would strike now. Answer it with the gentle firmness of truth. Oh no. No cause exists apart from God to compel me. No man can serve two masters. I decline the master of hurry, the master of fear, the master of approval. I serve one. Decline compulsion kindly, without scorn, without sermonizing, and return within to the government of presence. Then, if action is required, it will rise without residue. A check written, a door opened, a wrong righted, a body lifted, a law challenged cleanly, without hatred for any person, because you are seeing through person to principle. The paradox of non-alignment is this. By refusing to enlist in a quarrel of appearances, you become available for the one act that heals the root. Not indifference, but impartial compassion. Not delay, but holy pace. Not retreat, but rightly timed advance. Consider the master cleansing the temple. That was no apathy. But notice what preceded it. Years of inner governance. I can of mine own self do nothing. And then in its hour the act firm, free of personal heat, restoring right measure. Or recall the word to Jairus when the clamor swelled. Fear not, believe only. Presence first, movement after. Test your outcomes by their fruit. By their fruits ye shall know them. Alignment with presence yields peace-first results even when firmness is required. You may speak strongly and find that afterward you are not spent, not secretly angry at a brother, not nursing a narrative of enemies, but clear, grateful, quiet, doors open without forcing, allies appear you did not cultivate, corrections stand without your guarding them all night. If instead action leaves you agitated, rehearsing your speech, condemning a face, stop, return to one. Withdraw belief from the picture. Offer blessing. Wait until the inner climate is peace again, and only then proceed. Let us practice this even now in imagination. A message lands with a thud. The heart jumps, the mind sprints. Stop, Father, thou art here. I take no thought. Place in me the word, the silence, or the deed for this moment and no more. Breathe. Perhaps you send nothing. Perhaps you send 3 sentences. Perhaps you pick up the phone. Perhaps you go next door with a loaf. Whatever is given will bear this signature. Mercy without malice, clarity without cruelty, vigor without violence, perfect love casteth out fear. When fear is cast out, the hand can be strong and still be a blessing. From this hour, let non-alignment be your active vision. Refuse 2 powers, behold 1. Decline compulsion, accept guidance. Test the fruit, keep the peace that keeps you. And when the triggers come, and they will remember the rule that saves the day, pause, breathe, acknowledge, presence, then speak or be silent by the Spirit of your Father within you. In that way, the right thing is done, in the right way, at the right time, and it does not add 1 ounce to the world's quarrel. There comes a quiet hour in this way, rarely trumpeted never advertised, when what you have been saying to truth turns around and truth begins to say itself through you. I call it transition. Up to that point, you feel yourself remembering, turning within, acknowledging, waiting. Then, almost without announcement, the order reverses. Before your habit can reach for a thought, a word descends. Before your pulse can hasten at a headline, a hush is present. Before your lips can form an answer, your silence has already spoken. It is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. This is not a promotion you can secure. It is a ripening that happens to obedience. Practice has prepared the ground. Grace sows and reaps. In transition, effort eases without diminishing fidelity. You do not manufacture peace. You find it waiting as if it had arrived in the night and set the table. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, meets you at the door, and provocation, arriving late, discovers the seat already taken. There is a holy forethought that is not yours. Presence precedes the day as dew precedes the dawn. You wake to a climate of oneness, fewer arguments to win, fewer scenes to manage because the government has shifted. The government shall be upon his shoulder. You discover you are spending less of yourself and accomplishing more of God. At this threshold, dominion ceases to be a concept and becomes your climate. Germs no longer appoint your fear. The calendar no longer schedules your strength. The algorithm no longer choreographs your awareness. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, not because you bristle at weapons. Oh no, but because you no longer lend them substance by belief. The flu season graph on the wall need not become your master. The date on the page cannot prophesy your decline. The feed cannot yank your attention like a leash. You are learning that cycles may describe weather, but they do not decree being. In him we live and move and have our being. Our being is not penciled into the margins of mortality. It is written in the ink of life. Identity, too, clarifies from rumor into realization. You begin to taste what we have said so often. There is only one mind, and that is the mind of God. That mind is your mind and mine, not a superior brain, not a sharpened opinion, but mind itself transparently functioning where you are. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. You do not become someone else. You cease pretending to be apart from what you are. The agony of self-management mellows. The fruit of quiet confidence appears. You move from reciting truth to hearing truth, from pushing outcomes to consenting to order. With this comes a ministerial confidence that is not boasting. You discover you can be sent into weather, into rooms hot with history, into teams tangled with dread, and remain clear, not by bravado, but by absence of personal heat. I can of mine own self do nothing, and still, without strain, the work is done. You watch a storm and feel no call to raise your voice. You feel the interior nod and say two sentences that land like rain on dust, or you say nothing and the atmosphere loosens its fist. You do not possess power, you witness presence, and presence does the mending. And the beauty of this hour is the ripple. Your quiet seeing steadies households without debate. Children sleep through nights that used to be fretful. A workplace meeting, anticipated as conflict, becomes lucent with solutions. A neighbor with whom you have never discussed, God begins to speak more gently on the sidewalk. By their fruits ye shall know them. Fruits are appearing not because you argued well, but because one was acknowledged until one became the heir. You find yourself walking into circles as a simple transparency, and the circle breathes. No sermon, no display, only the one presence recognized, and that recognition acting as peace. This is transition. When presence precedes provocation, when truth speaks before opinion can arise, when dominion is felt as natural, and the one mind carries your affairs as the ocean carries the wave. From here, we do not retire into private bliss. We are more available than ever, because the burden is lighter and the yoke is easy. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. At transition, you are no longer reaching for the kingdom. You are walking in it, and it is walking into the world through you. Now, as a company, let us put down our little banners and take up sight. We have spoken of discipline. We have walked through practice. We have tasted the ease of grace. It is time to seal this hour with the act that empties us for God. Be still and know that I am God. Together we turn within and make a holy release. Father, thou art here. Here, Father, you take all our opinions, our needs to be right, our private verdicts and rehearsed speeches. You take our secret fears that dress as zeal. You take our dread of being misunderstood, our hunger to be approved. We loose them and let them go. We do not edit them. We do not defend them. We do not store them for future use. We loose them and let them go into thee. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and we do so now. Now we bless. We bless every face we have argued with in our hearts. We bless the side we secretly championed and the side we quietly despised. We bless leaders and followers, speakers and listeners, protesters and police, editors and readers, neighbors and kin. Oh no, not as two camps, never that, but as one life appearing in many viewpoints, each embraced in the same love. One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. We deny no one the dignity of that fatherhood. We withdraw belief from two powers. We behold one presence, one power, one law. Let us be silent together now for 2 minutes. Do not measure them on the watch. Measure them by the softening of breath we hold. Only this: one presence, one power, one law. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. We gather in that name, which is nature, I am. We take no thought. We let the Spirit of the Father speak or keep us still. And in this stillness, we give consent. Father, thy peace governs, thy wisdom orders, thy love embraces. Amen. And now we seal the practice simple and sure. In the morning, before the foot touches the floor, acknowledge, Father, thou art here. One presence, one power, one life. Before engagements, the call, the meeting, the message, pause and take no thought until the inward nod appears. Throughout the day, give thanks with bread, with breath, with every small sufficiency. In everything give thanks. These are not courtesies, this is governance. Keep it for 6 days, and on the 7th we will keep it again, for it is the keeping that keeps us. Here is our charge for the week. From this moment on, never refuse a call, but enter no call as a combatant. Meet every summons first with inner stillness. Father, thou art here. I take no thought then with grace-ordered action, given in that same hour. If words are given, they will be few and clean. If silence is given, it will be strong and merciful. If steps are given, they will be timely and free of residue. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the side takers. And peacemakers are simply those through whom one is witnessed until peace becomes the air. Go with this assurance. Not from me, oh no, but from the Master. All things that the Father hath are mine. Because the wave is one with the ocean, the life of the ocean is the life of the wave. All that the Father hath is ours, not for boasting, but for blessing. Not for argument, but for answer. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. That peace is sufficient for this hour. It will keep you while you keep your mind stayed. It will speak in you when speech is needed. It will send you where love must appear, and it will hold you still when holding still is the healing. Let us go then, light and available, carrying no weapon but recognition, no strategy but surrender, no burden but gratitude, loosing opinion, gaining vision, until the Father within doeth the works in us, as us, for all.